Hello and welcome to Team Liquid's strategy guide series for Amirdrassil, The Dream's Hope. I'm Aya, and today I'm going to present Telegon's breakdown of the mechanics and strategy for heroic Larodar, Keeper of the Flame. This fight is somewhat unique in the first phase, so I'll take more time to communicate the exact construction and interplay between the different mechanics. This is a two-phase fight separated by a short intermission. His first phase operates on a 100 energy cycle, and upon reaching maximum energy, Larodar casts Raging Inferno. Larodar will cast Raging Inferno 3 times before entering a brief intermission and beginning phase 2. The encounter occurs in a circular arena bounded by fiery ground. Several mechanics cause additional burning ground to spawn inside the arena, creating area denial. In phase 1, this area denial can be minimized and even removed through clever positioning and a mechanic called Seed of Life. In this phase, a Seed of Life lays dormant in the center of the arena with an energy percent bar above it. Players may create a connection to the Seed of Life by clicking on it, and further connections may be made by touching other players, creating a chain between a maximum of 3 players that increases the range that each player may move away from the Seed of Life. This connection causes each player to expel emerald magic, removing nearby burning ground and scorching roots, while draining energy from the Seed of Life. On heroic and mythic difficulties, using the seed causes a 4-minute lockout called Dream Fatigue, which prevents players from using the seed again, requiring that you assign different sets of players to use the seed throughout phase 1. To fill the Seed of Life's energy bar, we'll have to kill summoned fiery treants, which become charred treants upon death that need to be healed to full health before becoming renewed treants and sacrificing their life to empower the seed with energy. The fiery treants create burning ground while alive, must be kicked, and explode for moderate damage in a small radius when they die. Larodar also periodically summons scorching roots, which fixate on random players, pursuing them relentlessly and gaining speed over time. Upon death, they transform into charred brambles. On heroic, these roots are untargetable before being doused with emerald magic expelled from players connected to the Seed of Life. Scorching roots, shockingly, root enemies they come into contact with, dealing damage over time. This effect is removable through either magic dispels or root removal effects such as Freedom or Tiger's Lust. After the scorching roots are killed and become charred brambles, they may be healed and upon reaching full health transform into a renewed bramble barrier. This barrier provides protection from Raging Inferno and explodes for moderate damage in a small radius after the Raging Inferno cast resolves. Throughout this phase, Larodar's tank mechanic is Furious Charge, targeting his aggro target and charging at them, inflicting a large amount of physical and magic damage while knocking them away. This damage decreases based on your distance from the boss. You will want to tank the boss on the edge of the arena when targeted, and move into the scorched ground outside the arena as the boss causes more area denial to spawn under him after his charge resolves, while also doing raid damage called Furious Outburst to all players reduced by distance from the boss. This convention minimizes both area denial and damage taken from Furious Outburst. In addition to these mechanics, being hit by Furious Charge applies Nature's Fury to his target, increasing physical damage taken by 100% for 20 seconds, beginning at 10 stacks and decreasing over the duration of the debuff. Larodar will also periodically cast Blazing Thorns, which spawn spiral patterns of swirlies centered around his model that explode upon resolution, knocking players back. These swirlies explode outwards away from Larodar before coalescing into flame orbs, which must be soaked before they reach the boss. These orbs deal a small amount of damage to the soaking player, but also debuff players with a 20% crit chance buff and a small dot for 10 seconds. If any orbs are allowed to reach Larodar, they increase his fire damage done by 20% for 10 seconds, stacking. This should be avoided at all costs. Now let's pause and review the flow for phase 1. Larodar gains energy constantly and will cast Raging Inferno at 100 energy. Before each Raging Inferno cast, we will have to spray Scorching Roots with the Seed of Life to make them targetable on heroic. Kill the scorching roots, turning them into charred brambles, which may then be healed to give us a 90% damage taken shield from Raging Inferno while standing inside the effect. This sequence will allow us to live through the 100 energy rotation. While you rotate through the 3 Raging Inferno cycles, you will need to have teams of 3 players assigned to operate the Seed of Life, which gains energy from the fiery treants that you killed and the charred treants they became by being healed, and then channeling their health into the Seed of Life. During this time, your tanks will be charging the boss outside of the arena to minimize area denial and raid damage taken. Throughout this phase, burning ground will be spread by the boss himself, his fiery treants, and scorching roots. The play space should be kept as clear as possible by the Seed of Life teams. After the boss has cast Raging Inferno 3 times, he'll phase into his intermission briefly before entering phase 2. During his intermission, Larodar casts Consuming Flame, which pulls all players towards him and pulses fire damage for 16 seconds. This cast transforms Larodar into the Avatar of Ash to begin Phase 2. In Phase 2, we no longer have access to the Seed of Life and are unable to clear burning ground, so it's imperative that we enter this phase with the cleanest play space possible. This phase has much fewer mechanics than Phase 1, however in this phase these abilities are generally more difficult to deal with, especially when overlapped. In Phase 2, Larodar periodically casts Flash Fire, which targets several players with a healing absorb. After 8 seconds, the players erupt, inflicting fire damage to all players within 8 yards. If the absorb is not healed off before expiring, the player is stunned for 20 seconds. However, this effect is removable by way of Magic Dispel. Fire Whirl causes tornadoes to spawn and move throughout the arena, causing damage and knocking back players who collide with them. The main mechanic of this phase is Ashen Call, which summons Ashen treants around the edge of the arena. These treants should fixate random players and slowly move towards them. On Heroic and above, these treants leave area denial in their path, as well as leaving behind burning ground beneath them upon death on all difficulties. This is significant due to no longer being able to remove burning ground as we've lost access to the Seed of Life. Larodar himself also continues to periodically leave burning ground beneath him, further putting a timer on this phase. Note that these treants should be fully crowd controllable and susceptible to forced movement effects. The boss acquires a new tank mechanic in this phase, replacing Furious Charge with Smoldering Backdraft, which is a simple frontal cone of magic damage that applies a debuff. This debuff is called Smoldering Suffocation, which reduces healing received by 100% and inflicts fire damage over time. The debuff player may leech health from allies within 6 yards during this time. Larodar pulses for ramping damage throughout this phase, further enhancing the kill or be killed feeling and time pressure of the phase. You'll want to keep in mind this fact when assigning healing cooldowns, as well as the Raging Inferno and Furious Outbursts cast in Phase 1. And with that, we very much hope you found this guide useful. Please feel free to leave feedback or commentary below, and make sure to keep your eyes on this channel as more guides will be coming out soon. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.